there, Buttercups. Your resident Teabelle here. Welcome to Hark, 'tis the Teabelle. Let's dive in for that tea today, huh?
Hey there, Buttercups! Welcome back to Hark, 'tis the Teabelle, where myth, mystery, and meaning spill hotter than celestial tea in Olympus itself. Today, we're stepping into the dazzling, quick-witted, beautifully chaotic world of Gemini. Oh yeah, the sign of the twins, the social butterfly, the intellectual shapeshifter, the cosmic communicator, and perhaps the zodiac's most misunderstood enigma. And Buttercups, if you've ever met one, you already know. But today we are not settling for that tired two-faced stereotype. Oh no, no, no. Because Gemini's true story isn't about deception, it's about something far deeper. Today we're diving deep into the myth of Castor and Pollux. We'll unravel famous Geminis who changed histories, pop culture icons, Greek mythology's divinity, personality and psychology of a Gemini, the archetype, love, loyalty, and layered hearts, and so much more. From royalty to rebels, from poets to performers, from mythical legends to modern masterminds, we are spilling all of that celestial tea today, Buttercups. So grab your crown, your birth chart, and maybe a little emotional support beverage, because whether you're a Gemini, loved one, or are still trying to decode one like an ancient prophecy, this episode is about to take you on a cosmic ride through curiosity, complexity, and the many faces of the twins. So buckle up, Buttercups, because this is Gemini, and trust me, you've never heard their story told quite like this before. Alright, so we do have to do the vitals of this sign just to make it a little bit easier as we continue, right? So Gemini is the third sign of the zodiac. It is often associated with communication, intellect, and adaptability. In the Western zodiac system, known as Western astrology, it is typically the span of May 21st to June 20th. The symbol represents twins. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. Okay, and Mercury is a planet of communication, intellect, and information exchange. In mythology, Mercury corresponds to the Roman messenger god Mercury. Mercury was known for speed, cleverness, and persuasion. And because of his influence, Gemini individuals are often seen as natural communicators, storytellers, problem solvers, and lovers of conversation and technology. Now, Gemini belongs to the air signs of astrology, and air represents thought, intellect, conversation, social interaction. Other signs of the air collection include Libra and Aquarius. Together, these signs are known for analytical thinking, social awareness, and big ideas about society and the future. But Gemini is often considered the most mentally active of the three. So Gemini is often called the communicator of the zodiac, the thinker, and sometimes even the social butterfly. But what really defines the personality of a Gemini? Why are they known for being quick-witted, adaptable, and endlessly curious? Let's explore the psychology and symbolism behind the cosmic twins. Alright, so one of their traits, number one, is extremely curious. That's one of the most famous traits they have, to be honest. They constantly want to know why things happen, how systems work, and what people think. And they love exploring books, cultures, conversations, puzzles. A Gemini mind is always searching for new information. The trait number two is that they are natural communicators. Because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, communication comes naturally because of the messenger god, right? Geminis often excel at speaking, writing, storytelling, and sharing ideas. Many Geminis thrive in careers involving communication, such as journalism, acting, media, and teaching. Their ability to explain ideas clearly is one of their greatest strengths. They are quick thinkers. Their minds move fast. They often process information very quickly, making them excellent at problem solving, analyzing situations, and brainstorming ideas. They can jump between topics easily, which does help them connect ideas others might miss. This trait also makes them great conversationalists. They are highly adaptable, meaning they are incredibly flexible, and they tend to adjust easily to new environments, new people, new ideas. And instead of resisting change, Geminis often embrace it. This adaptability allows them to thrive in fast moving or unpredictable situations. And they are social and outgoing, so they like being around people. They love meeting new personalities, lively discussions, social gatherings. And their energy and curiosity make them more engaging and entertaining companions. They are often the ones keeping conversations alive at parties or events. And they have a multifaceted personality. So Gemini's twins symbol represents multiple sides of a personality. Think two sides of a coin. This doesn't mean that they are fake or dishonest by any means. Instead, it reflects their ability to see multiple viewpoints, adapt their behavior to different situations, think in complex ways. Geminis are comfortable exploring different identities, interests, and ideas. In astrology, Gemini isn't just about personality traits. It represents universal human archetypes, roles, and patterns that appear in stories, myths, and cultures around the world. And these archetypes reflect Gemini's central theme of duality, the ability to see multiple sides of reality. Let's explore the many faces of the twins. Obviously, one of the strongest archetypes and number one is the messenger. This role is connected to Mercury, both the planet and Roman god, obviously. Messenger traits can include communication, intelligence, spreading information, and connecting people. This archetype appears throughout history as scribes, journalists, broadcasters, and teachers. Gemini energy thrives wherever ideas travel quickly. So, archetype number 2 is the trickster. And this is just another classic archetype of the Gemini. The trickster appears in mythologies around the world and often represents cleverness, quick thinking, mischief, and unexpected solutions. So, example of maybe a mythological trickster figure is Loki. Tricksters challenge rules and force society to rethink assumptions. Gemini's flexible mind makes this archetype especially powerful. Now, let's go to archetype 3, which is the student. And the student is eternal, okay? This archetype represents curiosity, learning, questioning everything, exploring ideas. Gemini energy thrives on information. And these individuals often love reading, studying, puzzles, interviewing, all of it. Their motto just might be, tell me something I don't know. Now, we have another archetype, number 4, and this one is the performer. And their communication often manifests as this. So this archetype includes actors, comedians, hosts, entertainers. Gemini personalities often enjoy engaging audiences, storytelling, creative expression, and many famous performers show strong Gemini traits because of their ability to adapt and entertain. The 5th archetype of the Gemini is the explorer of ideas, the intellectual explorer, if you will. Unlike physical adventures, they explore ideas, knowledge, cultures, and conversations. And historically, this archetype appeared in philosophers, scholars, researchers, and psychologists. This journey that they travel on is not across oceans, but through ideas and perspectives. And the 6th one is the dual self. Remember, we talked about duality. And this is perhaps the most famous archetype. The twin symbol reflects the idea that humans contain multiple identities and viewpoints. Psychologists sometimes compare this idea to concepts explored by thinkers like Carl Jung. Jung believed that the psyche contained many layers, including the shadow self and the conscious self. Gemini symbolizes the ability, though, to recognize and integrate different parts of their mind. Now, why do Gemini archetypes appear in stories? Well, because throughout history, stories often include characters representing their energy. And why? Because Gemini archetypes embody essential human abilities: thinking, communicating, adapting, learning. And civilizations depend on people who can share knowledge, explore new ideas, and question assumptions. Gemini represents the engine of the intellectual process and allows for progress. Now, these archetypes remind us that the human mind is never just one thing. Inside every single person lives a curious student, the playful performer, the clever trickster, the powerful messenger. And Gemini teaches us that identity is fluid, curious, and ever changing. Two twins in the sky, but in truth, they represent the many voices within the human mind. And maybe that's why Gemini fascinates humanity and has for thousands of years. Because the real mystery of the twins is us. In modern astrology, your zodiac sign is only one part of a full birth chart. Astrologers analyze the entire chart using systems like the natal astrology. This chart maps the positions of the planets at your birth. For example, Sun in Gemini is your personality and identity. Moon in Gemini, emotional style. Gemini rising, outward personality. And each placement expresses Gemini energy in a different way. Now, represented by the twins, Gemini is known for curiosity, quick thinking, and a mind that never stops moving. But where do these traits come from? What does Gemini represent in modern astrology, and why has this sign gained a reputation for being both brilliant and unpredictable? Let's explore the cosmic story. Modern astrologers often associate Gemini with intelligence, communication, adaptability, curiosity, and dual perspectives. And they're sometimes described as the journalist of the zodiac. They are always gathering information and sharing ideas. And astrologers will sometimes call Gemini the sign of the digital age. But why? Because Gemini's strengths match modern communication tools, such as social media, podcasts, journalism, broadcasting, and information sharing. Many modern Geminis thrive in careers involving media, writing, communication, entertainment, and marketing. They often excel at storytelling and conversations. Now, while there is always an up, there has to be a down, right? Well, modern astrology highlights several strengths linked to Gemini. Geminis often learn quickly and absorb information rapidly. They can explain complex ideas clearly and persuasively. They can enjoy meeting new people and exploring different perspectives, and many excel in writing, storytelling, and artistic expression. But with the down, right, they have potential challenges. So their fast moving brains sometimes make it difficult to stay focused. Geminis sometimes struggle with boredom and need constant stimulation. Seeing multiple perspectives can make choices harder, and that means that their powerful minds can occasionally spiral into excessive analysis, i.e., probably overthinking. Geminis may start many projects but struggle to finish them, not fish them. But however, many astrologers believe these traits simply reflect Gemini's deep curiosity about the world, and these challenges are often the flip side of their intellectual strength. Okay? So essentially, like I said, with every up, there is a down. And with this, there has to be both. Let's tumble down the rabbit hole of how these cosmic twins navigate daily life. So let's look at work first. Now, in the workplace, Gemini is often the idea generator and communicator. Now, remember, they're quick thinkers, so they're known for their fast moving minds and tend to excel at brainstorming, analyzing information, solving problems, and sharing ideas. And they're going to thrive in fields involving communication, such as journalism, media, broadcasting, teaching, and marketing. Okay? And they're going to be good at multitasking because they're masters of it. They'll juggle multiple projects, they'll learn new skills, they'll collaborate with colleagues, they'll explore creative solutions. However, because their curiosity is so strong, they'll sometimes prefer variety over routine tasks, and that makes a lot of sense. Their natural communication skills can make them excellent team players and leaders. But when they get home, what happens? Well, while Geminis are often social and energetic, home life is where they recharge their curious minds. The information hub. So, a Gemini home often contains books, technology, podcasts, articles, or magazines. They love environments where they can learn, explore, and stay mentally stimulated. Now, remember they're conversation oriented. So they enjoy homes where conversation flows easily. So they might enjoy long chats over coffee, discussing movies or books, and playing games that involve strategy or thinking. For Gemini, a home that encourages ideas and dialogue feels comforting, right? And allows them to recharge easier. Now, constant change. Remember, they love variety. And their home environment might change frequently, like rearranging furniture, redecorating, rotating hobbies. They enjoy spaces that feel flexible and creative rather than rigid. Now, at a party, this is where they're going to shine brightest, y'all. They are frequently considered one of the most socially dynamic zodiac signs. And as a social butterfly, they're going to be seen talking with multiple groups, telling stories, and sharing jokes or interesting facts. And they're going to be able to move easily between conversations and connect people who might not know each other. Now, the conversation starter. They love interesting discussions. And they might bring up topics like travel stories, books, movies, and unusual facts. Their curiosity often makes them great conversationalists. And they have entertaining energy from everything we've seen that makes sense, right? Because they enjoy humor and storytelling, they're going to become the life of the party sometimes. And they might be that one because they can lead group conversations, make people laugh, and organize games or activities. Their playful and adaptable personality helps them fit into many social settings, which means they can be the leader or in any group and be okay. Now, let's explore the balance of Gemini energy, okay? Because across work, home, and social life, Gemini tends to share several key qualities: intellectual curiosity, communication skills, adaptability, and interest in new experiences. But, like everyone, they also need balance. Sometimes Gemini benefits from slowing down and focusing on relaxation, finishing projects, and quiet reflection. This is a way to help their powerful mind recharge. Now, Gemini reminds us that life is meant to be explored, discussed, and experienced, right? So at work, they bring ideas and innovation. At home, they cultivate learning and conversation. And at parties, they spread energy and laughter. Gemini personalities reflect the beauty of connection and curiosity. Now, what does the romantic world of the cosmic twins look like? Because when it comes to romance, Gemini isn't looking for passion. Not just passion, anyways. They're looking for mental connection as well. And we're going to dive into the love life of the cosmic twins. Now, Gemini women in love. They will be described as dynamic, curious, and intellectually engaging, and embodying the adaptable energies symbolized by the mythological twins that represent Gemini's famous dual nature. But what does that mean for a relationship? Well, one, she's going to fall in love through conversation because it's romantic for a Gemini woman. And she's going to love deep conversations, intellectual debates, and learning about her partner. A partner who can stimulate her mind will win her heart faster than grand gestures alone. If the conversation flows, the romance usually follows. Now, what else does she need? She needs excitement. Number two. Gemini women often are adventurous and curious, and they enjoy relationships that include travel, new experiences, and exploring ideas together. Routine can sometimes feel limiting to them, and a partner who keeps life interesting and stimulating will keep her engaged. Number three, she has many sides. So, Gemini women will often have multi layered personalities. So, one minute she might be playful and social, and the next she's going to be thoughtful and introspective. This isn't inconsistency, it's a Gemini's natural adaptability being reflected. Her partner often discovers new sides of her over time. Now, when she's truly in love, woo, and she's deeply trusting someone, she becomes loyal, emotionally open, and intellectually supportive. So she's going to enjoy a relationship where both partners grow together mentally and emotionally. But what about men? Well, Gemini men are often known for being charming, witty, and engaging conversationalists. They tend to express affection through humor, ideas, and shared experiences. So, number one for the men is the charming communicator. Okay? And they often win people over with their humor, storytelling, and quick thinking. Their natural curiosity makes them great listeners and conversational partners. They enjoy partners who can match their mental energy. A mental connection is essentially number two. For a Gemini man, attraction often begins in the mind. He appreciates partners who are intellectually curious, expressive, and creative. A relationship that includes interesting discussions and shared ideas keeps him emotionally engaged. He is going to value freedom, number three. Gemini men often value personal independence. They thrive in relationships that allow exploration, personal interest, and open communication. A partner who respects this independence usually earns his loyalty and admiration. Now, when he commits, a Gemini man commits emotionally and he's going to become supportive, communicative, and playful and affectionate. He enjoys building relationships that feel like friendship, adventure, and romance all in one. Now, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, communication plays a huge role in their romantic life. Gemini often expresses love through meaningful conversation, shared humor, intellectual connection, and spontaneous experiences. For Gemini, it's not just about emotion, it's about the connection of minds. They need that mental stimulation. So, Gemini strengths can sometimes create challenges, and some of those common relationship hurdles could include restlessness if the relationship feels stagnant, that clocks, difficulty choosing between options, that makes sense, and overthinking emotions. But with open communication and shared curiosity, Gemini relationships can be deeply fulfilling and exciting. Love with a Gemini is rarely boring. It's a relationship filled with conversations that last all night, adventures and shared discoveries, and intellectual chemistry. Gemini reminds us that love isn't just about passion. Sometimes the strongest connection begins with a conversation. Two minds meeting, two perspectives intertwining, two hearts learning from each other. And just like the mythological twins shining in the constellation Gemini, love for Gemini is about connection, curiosity, and shared experience. Now, specifically, we're going to explore how the zodiac sign Gemini connects to the symbolism of the tarot deck. Both systems are used to interpret personality, destiny, and the hidden patterns of life. And when Gemini's quick thinking, curious energy meets tarot's rich symbolism, things get very interesting. Now, let's shuffle the cosmic deck and see what cards align to the sign of the twins. Well, the primary tarot card is the Lovers. Now, Gemini's main tarot correspondence is at first glance something that people assume is about romance, okay? But the Lovers and its symbolism is much deeper than that. In many decks inspired by the Rider-Waite tarot, the card shows two figures standing together, an angel above them, and symbolic trees of knowledge. Right. So now the Lovers, really the themes of it, represents strongly on Gemini, such as duality, partnership, choices and moral decisions, communication between individuals. Because this card represents the moment when two paths or two perspectives must be understood. Does that sound familiar? Because that is classic Gemini energy. Now, while Gemini is symbolized by twins, tarot readers often interpret the Lovers as a card about choices, okay? And Gemini is known for seeing both sides of a situation, weighing different ideas, and balancing logic and emotion. And the Lovers asks the question, which path aligns with your true self? And this reflects Gemini's constant exploration of possibilities and perspectives. Now, another card is the Magician. Because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, tarot readers also connect the Magician to Gemini energy. Because the Magician represents intellect, communication, manifestation through knowledge. Okay? Now, in the Rider-Waite imagery, the Magician stands before tools representing the four elements, okay? Wand is fire, cup is water, swords are the air, and pentacles are earth. And this symbolizes the ability to bring ideas into reality, i.e. manifestation. And it's a skill often associated with Gemini's quick mind and communication skills. Now, we remember that Gemini is actually frequently linked with the suit of swords, i.e. the tool representing the element air. And the suit of swords represents intellect, communication, decisions, mental conflict, right? Since Gemini is an air sign and swords corresponds to that element of air, that connection is mutual. Now, there are some other cards that often will be associated with Gemini energy, and one of them is the Two of Swords. Yes, I said swords. So that represents difficult decisions, balancing two perspectives and avoiding a choice, which is the classic Gemini dilemma, seeing both sides. The Eight of Swords. This card represents mental overthinking, self-imposed limitations, analyzing situations deeply. And that is letting us know that Gemini's powerful mind can sometimes become too analytical. And then there's the Page of Swords. It's a representation of curiosity, communication, and learning. This card often symbolizes the student, journalist, or investigator, which are roles strongly aligned with Gemini energy. Now, in tarot, air governs the mind and language, which is a perfect reflection on Gemini's personality. And when tarot readers describe Gemini energy, they are often referring to someone who is intellectually curious, highly communicative, eager to learn new things, and adaptable and flexible. But it also means that they are sometimes restless, overthinking, and constantly shifting perspectives. So tarot shows both the strengths and the challenges of this mental energy, okay? Now, when we combine astrology and tarot, we see something absolutely fascinating. Gemini isn't just a sign of the twins. It's the sign of curiosity itself. The Lovers reminds us that life is full of choices. The Magician shows us the power of ideas turning into action. And the Sword suit represents the incredible power and danger, if you will, of the human mind. Gemini teaches us that knowledge, conversation, and curiosity are some of the greatest forces in the universe, after all. Every discovery begins with a question, and Gemini is always asking one more of those. Now let's go through some royal and historic Geminis to see just who envelops this Gemini energy. Well, Queen Victoria, born May 24th in 1819, you should know her. She is the legendary British monarch who ruled for over 63 years, an era so influential it literally became known as the Victorian era. Gemini traits: sharp political mind, prolific letter writer, vast global influence. John F. Kennedy, born May 29, 1917. Charismatic, eloquent, and unforgettable. Gemini strengths: powerful speaker, visionary, magnetic public presence. Of course, we're going to now go into Hollywood Gemini icons, but of course, none other than the Marilyn Monroe, born June 1st, 1926, who was the ultimate bombshell. But behind the glamour, there was a deeply intelligent, emotionally layered woman. Her Gemini energy consisted of charm, versatility, and complexity. Prince, born June 7th, 1958, is a gene-defying musical genius, and his brilliance is in innovation, reinvention, and electric creativity. Angelina Jolie, born June 4th, 1975. She is an actress, a humanitarian, and a rebel. So she is a bold, intelligent, global activist. Modern Gemini superstars. Beyonce, born June 4th, 1981. Gemini strengths: vocal versatility, business brilliance, stage domination. Kendrick Lamar, born June 17th, 1987. He is a poet, a visionary, a cultural force, and he has power over word mastery, depth, and innovation. Tom Holland. He is a charming, witty, agile person with humor, adaptability, and youthful charisma. Born June 1st, 1996. Now, the thing is that everybody there is pretty popular, but we know that they all have something, right? Now, why are there so many Gemini entertainers? Well, because Gemini rules communication, expression, performance. They all thrive in spaces where words, personality, and reinvention matter. Geminis don't just perform, they transform. Twin brothers, one mortal, one divine. A bond so powerful that Zeus himself placed them among the stars. The symbolism following this is of duality, brotherhood, mortality plus immortality, two sides existing at once. And doesn't that sound like a Gemini? Well, let's tumble down this rabbit hole, okay? Now, Gemini is represented by the twins Castor and Pollux. Their mother was the legendary Leda, Queen of Sparta. And here's where Greek mythology gets absolutely chaotic, okay? Deliciously chaotic, if you will. Zeus, king of the gods and certified bringer of drama, disguised himself as a swan. You heard me right, a swan. And seduced Leda. Now, from this union came Pollux, divine and immortal. But Leda also had children with her normal husband, which meant Castor was born mortal. So they were born twins. Unfortunately, they suffered from one devastating difference. One could die, and one could not. And anybody who knows anything about twins knows that twins have a very special bond. Now, Castor was famed for horsemanship, battle skill, and mortal courage. Pollux was known for boxing, divine strength, and godlike power. And together they were absolutely unstoppable. They joined Jason and the Argonauts in the quest for the Golden Fleece, which we already talked about. They fought warriors, survived peril, and became symbols of inseparable loyalty. See, Gemini energy has never been about being two-faced. It's about duality. Mortal plus divine, logic plus emotion, action plus thought, life plus death. Okay? Absolutely important pairings. Now, as in many Greek myths, paradise does not last. During a violent conflict, Castor was killed. And for the first time, Pollux, his immortal twin, faced something even gods feared. Loss. See, Pollux was shattered, and he begged Zeus, "If my brother must die, let me share his fate." That is absolutely Gemini energy. Not shallow, not fake, not indecisive, but fiercely bonded, loyal beyond even death. Now, Zeus was moved by this devotion, so he offered a compromise. The twins would alternate between Olympus and the underworld together, and eventually, Zeus placed them among the stars as the constellation Gemini, forever side by side. So next time someone says Gemini is two-faced, tell them this instead. Gemini is the sacred dance between two halves, the human and the divine, the thinker and the feeler, the one who stays and the one who goes. Gemini is not confusion, it is complexity. And Castor and Pollux remind us that true love, whether it be sibling, soulmate, spiritual, etc., can transcend even death itself. Okay, so we talked about the twins of fate, right? Well, twins aren't uncommon, and you can see it across the globe. One of the earliest zodiac systems came from ancient Mesopotamia. Long before Greece, ancient Mesopotamian astronomers recorded the constellation as the Great Twins of Mesopotamia. These twins were divine guardians, often associated with divine warriors and guardians of the underworld. Okay, now, these twins specifically symbolized protection, warrior strength, balance between worlds, guardianship, and life and death duality. Babylonian star charts from around 2000 BCE already recorded Gemini as part of their zodiac system. Many scholars believed that this twin imagery later influenced Greek interpretations of Gemini. Interesting. Now, in Hindu, they were the divine lovers. So, in the ancient Vedic astronomy, Gemini is called Mithuna, and Mithuna means pair, couple, or union. Now, rather than brothers in this constellation often represents male and female partners, cosmic balance, essentially unity of opposites, fertility and creation, intellectual exchange. Gemini plays an important role in the Hindu astrology system known as the Jyotisha system. Symbolism includes communication, partnership, intellectual exchange. So this is why Gemini in astrology is often associated with conversation and curiosity. Now, I'm sure you've heard of this one, and it's not the band. Chinese astronomy, they are the yin-yang twins. Chinese star maps place the Gemini stars in a different constellation system within the Chinese constellations. Now, rather than twins, though, they represented balance of opposites, guardianship, celestial rivers. The twin stars often represented two officials or guardians protecting the heavens. Ancient Chinese astronomers divided the sky into many smaller constellations. So Gemini stars had different meanings than in, say, the Western astrology. Now we're going to go to ancient Egypt, and they were considered twin gods of the sky. So some Egyptians believed Gemini were linked to the deities Horus and his brother Set. So these, we talked about opposites essentially, and it comes down to opposites attracting. So these symbols, they symbolized order versus chaos, day versus night, harmony through conflict. And although it's not a direct Gemini story or constellation match, it follows the idea of twin forces shaping the universe, right? And it appears very strongly in Egyptian belief, as well as the interpretation of the twin stars as cosmic rivals or balancing forces. Mesoamerican mythology. So they were the hero twins. Across the ocean in the Americas, twin mythology appeared again. These clever legendary brothers defeated the lords of the underworld. But these Mayan twins represented cleverness, bravery, resurrection, triumph over darkness. Now, it's not directly tied to Gemini, but the twin archetype in the sky appears in the Mayan interpretation of stars. We're seeing that twins of symbols appear worldwide. And because anthropologists believe Gemini appears in so many cultures. Why? Well, the stars are bright and close together. Humans naturally recognize patterns of two figures. Twins represent balance, duality, harmony. And many cultures believe the universe operates through balance and duality. Many civilizations and cultures have similar beliefs, even if the details do vary. And they do vary, but it all boils down to the same principle, does it not? For thousands of years, people across the world have looked up at the same pair of stars and imagined two beings watching over the world. To the Greeks, they were heroic brothers. To the Hindus, cosmic partners. To the Mesopotamians, divine guardians. And to the Mayan, legendary trickster heroes. All different cultures, all different stories, but always two figures standing together in the night sky. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Gemini has fascinated humanity for so long. Because the idea of duality is part of the human experience itself. Two stars shining side by side forever. Two sides of a story. Two figures, two perspectives. One timeless mystery in the sky. And so, Buttercups, as we close today's celestial journey through the world of Gemini, let's remember this. Gemini reminds us that the human mind is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Curiosity leads to discovery. Conversation leads to connection. Ideas lead to change, and Gemini is embodying all three of these, okay? From ancient storytellers to modern journalists, philosophers to podcast hosts, Gemini energy thrives wherever ideas are shared. So whether you're diving into fascinating conversations, learning something new, exploring fresh ideas, debating philosophy, or swapping stories just with your friends, you are tapping into the energy of the cosmic twins. Because Gemini represents one of the world's, well, several of the world's world's greatest gifts. The desire to understand the world, two perspectives, one curious mind, endless conversation with the universe. Gemini is so often reduced to chatterbox energy, but its myth reveals something far, far deeper. Duality, adaptability, brotherhood and soul bonds, communication between worlds, curiosity, and the beautiful tension between the human and the divine. But Gemini also asks us, can two truths exist at once? Can you be playful and profound? Restless and loyal? Mortal and eternal? Greek myth says yes. To love a Gemini is to love energy, layers, conversation, and brilliance. Now, they may change their minds, they may even surprise you, but rarely will they ever bore you. So, whether you're a Gemini, love one, or are still trying to figure one out, or maybe you're just looking at your own duality, remember this: Geminis are not inconsistent. They are expansive. They are thinkers, dreamers, performers, paradoxes wrapped in stardust, and buttercups. This lets us know that we do not have to be one thing. Like the twins in the stars, you can hold multitudes. If you loved today's episode, or even just liked it, if it made you think, smile, or see Gemini in a whole new light, please like, subscribe, and share. I would truly deeply appreciate it more than you know, because y'all, this is a one-woman show. Your support helps keep the cosmic tea flowing and this little corner of the universe grow. So until next time, stay curious, stay cosmic, stay magical, and keep sipping that celestial tea.